All right, we'll get started then. So hello, everyone. Hi, Daniela. Nice to
Hi,
see
Britta.
you. My name is Britta Cabanos, and I am the founder of Inside Fashion Design. We are a global resource for apparel industry professionals, and we're really here to support and inspire each other and to empower each other and offer some opportunities to just lift each other up. And we were doing that pre-COVID, and now that it's COVID, it's even more important, I think, that we connect and support each other. And Daniela is someone I've known for a few years now. We are both in the industry, obviously, and met through mutual acquaintances and gotten to know you a little bit over the years. And what you're doing now is amazing. So I'm happy to have the opportunity to be able to help share your story and what you're doing. And I'm super inspired by you, and I'm sure others will be as well. So taking this time during COVID to, a lot of us are shifting and rethinking maybe our careers and what we want for ourselves in the future. And it's a hard time, but I also think it's a really good time to evaluate and take some self-inventory, if you will, and kind of figure out what are the next moves. And so chatting with you over the course of the last several weeks and what you're doing, I'm super thrilled to be highlighting that. So that's why we're here today. I am coming to you from Creative Capital Design Studio. I'm the only one here, so we're staying social distancing, and Danielle is in her home. So let's get started, and I'll just start. We're just gonna have a conversation, and Daniela will share what you're doing, and I think it's super exciting. So we'll just kick off, and I'll just start by having you maybe share your career background, because I think it's important for people to understand where you've come from. You've been through some major big corporate companies, you've done contracting, so you've done both small scale and large corporate design work. And so if you can start by sharing a little bit of your career journey, and then people will understand, how you came to be where you are today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited and feel honored to be with you. Yes, I've been in the design field, an apparel designer for all my career. 10 years of those, I was working in corporate. I was working at Adidas in Germany. Then moved to the States in 2004 to work for Nike, and then I worked for Columbia Sportswear. And then I got laid off. 2008, I got laid off. And it took a while because I'm German. I didn't have a green card, but I did get it. It took 2 years, I think, and then I was able to start working independently. We also had a daughter at that time, so it was kind of a good timing. It was a blessing in a way. And then I worked 10 years independently as a freelancer, working for multiple companies, as a partner in a global design and sourcing agency, which was a wild ride because we were working on all of the many startups, in-house brands, creating things like super quick, 8 months from brief to in warehouse delivery. I mean, it was for like new lines. So it was amazing. It was challenging. There was a lot of growth there. And my last, and I was working as a creative director for Pendleton Wool Mills here, which was an amazing opportunity for me. It was kind of a bit of a dream come true. But then early 2018, my daughter got sick, and I had to step away from that career, and that was scary and an interesting time in my life, because there was a lot of personal and private challenges, and I followed a hunch and signed up for a coaching program because I knew that I thought in my mind I wouldn't be able to work in the capacity that I had done before, and that working with freelance contracts would probably not fill me up in the way that this last job did. And so I needed to work on something or learn something new. So I didn't know how it would end up, or I had some ideas, but I wasn't quite sure. So that's where I am today.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that life throws us these curveballs, so unexpected all the time, and how it affects your personal life, of course, but then also your career. And I had similar things happen too, where you're just going a million miles a minute with your career, and things might be going really well, but it's still very fast paced and a lot of pressure, but you're just in the groove of things, and then all of a sudden it'd be like some curveball, and you just have to stop and pause, and you almost take a step back for a moment, and then just start really thinking, even nothing to do with COVID, this is all pre-COVID, even just on a normal routine, normal work life. So it does, and especially like we've both been in the industry for 20 plus years. So I think also when you get to that level, you're kind of like, okay, whoa, I've been doing this how long? And what does the rest of my career, what does the next step look like? And you think you kind of have a plan, and then it may be not really what's going to happen. So I think, it's just important to remember, I mean, that happens and you have to shift. And I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason. So it's just figuring out what those next steps are. So that has brought you to your next thing, which is coaching. So if you could, so how did you even find that, or did it kind of strike you as like, this is something I'd love to do, it just felt right? Or how did you kind of go, I mean, you're going from design director to completely different kind of thing. So how did that all come about?
Well, yeah, it's an excellent question. So one huge contributor was my friend who is also in the industry, but on the business side. And she went through some tough time as well, and her transition in a way. And during that time, she was very pulled to do this coaching training. And I saw such a huge shift when she was doing that. And it really made me very curious. That was on the one side. And on the other side, I was thinking that, there's not only skills, but there is almost like a secret sauce that I knew that I have applied because I was quite successful financially. The successes that we've had, and we had some audio issues. I hope you didn't hear that. It was just on my end. Okay, and so I was just I knew that there was something that I can relay or help people with in order for them to be successfthe whatever that looks like, whether that is financially or climbing the ladder, which is kind of connected or intertwined. So that was the first part, and so I signed up for to become a coach that way, and yeah, so
you just signed up
and just went for it. Yeah.
So there was a training involved, and you went through a very intense training. So can you tell us a little bit about what that entailed and program in general?
Yeah, so the training that I took is through IPEC, which it's one of the world's very established coaching training programs, and it's also accredited by the ICF, the International Coaching Federation. So that was the goal, to be certified by the ICF and do something that is really stands on solid ground. What I love about this coaching training, or this way of coaching, is that the idea and the concept that everything is energy, and that we are not coaching the story that you're in, like whether that is a nasty boss who doesn't understand you, or a colleague who is who you're not getting along with, or it might be that you've been laid off, or that you have to lay people off, right? So all of that is very emotional, and emotions are energy. And so it's like, as a coach, learning to tap into intuition, and to be able to pick up on these energetic frequencies, I would say, and be coaching the client around what they're feeling, so that they are connected within their power. And so it's a lovely thing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and that sounds different to me than when you say coaching, I think of normally like life coaching, and there's so many people that are doing life coaching, which is great, and there's a lot of resources for people to do that. But this sounds very much more dealing with the energy, or more emotional and more intuitive than just like, okay, what are the best things for your career, and how can you develop professionally, and this sounds so much deeper than that. And for creatives, I think that is a huge part of their personalities, is oftentimes very maybe sensitive and emotional, a lot of intuition, all those creative energies and things going on. So I love this idea of this type of coaching, because it's something that I know, like, I would personally love it and could use it. And how do you apply that to your work? It sounds like it's just on a much deeper level.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it totally is. Yes. And it's all connected, right? It's not separate, because we as a person, we are working in those corporations. And so if we are strong in our connection, and if we are strong in our intuition, in our own power, in our own confidence, if we understand ourselves better, then we show up in a very different way. And that way it attracts awareness of other people. It attracts success. You will be more successful the more confident you are, and the more you are in your own power, the more effective you can be and work in this world.
Yeah, a lot more positive energies, which just affect everyone around you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You said something when I was talking to you, and you were sharing all this with me, is you don't know, so this isn't to give people advice per se. It's really more to I guess coach them. So can you describe a little bit of like what you mean by that, and how that would work with your a private client or a group that you're working with?
Okay, yeah, that's great. Yes, exactly. So I'm not giving any advice. I'm not a creativity coach in the sense of telling you how to do your work, because you know how to do your work. As a designer, that's why you are employed, or that's why you are in this line of business, right? Because you are a designer, and you've done the work, and you've done your education. But what I will help is stripping away all of the confusing messages that are out there. So especially right now, is we're all up in our heads, right? There's so many messages, there's so much information. There is, whether it is from social media, or when you work in an organization, there's the sales, and then there's marketing, and then there's the business, and then you have the trend reports. And so you've been bombarded by all of these messages. But and so it is getting out of your head, getting into yourself, and stripping away, like observing those messages and those thoughts that are swirling around in your head, and help cleaning some of that up, so that you're more grounded. You can and tapped into your own power.
Sounds like it. Yeah. Taking all that noise and figuring out how to work through it and how to filter out what is not helping you. So you're talking about all this inner voice, like the clients connecting with their inner voice. So do you have, I'm sure you do, you have like some sort of process that when you work with them, how do you get them to connect to that voice and work through some of those challenges?
Yeah. Well, there's several steps that I would do. The first thing, there's 10 disciplines that I teach. There's 10 disciplines. When you apply those disciplines in your life, you will be able to understand or become aware of those thoughts or beliefs, and then you can question them. So as a coach, oh my gosh, I think this is really going totally. I'm all over the place.
No.
I wonder if we can start over. This is like,
you're doing fabulous. It's great.
We have to cut this out.
Oh, okay. You can cut this part out. You're doing so good. You want to start with the 10 disciplines, or just? Yeah. Or I can just start with another. How do you connect your clients with their inner voice? How do you do that?
Well, it's like in one-on-one coaching. It's the process of just normalizing where everybody is, because everybody has a life experience. Everybody has their filters from wherever you picked it up. And that is also giving you the strength in the work that you do, like all these experiences that make you unique, that make you so valuable in your job. But you judge yourself.
Right.
I don't have this business sense, or I don't understand about numbers, and all of this chatter, or somebody says, I don't understand what you're trying to do here. And so first of all, it's like this normalizing and understanding, you are exactly right where you are. So this is one. The other thing is that each individual, we know what's best for us. Mm. We know. The problem is that there's all this chatter because of some of these filters that are serving us. But when we doubt ourselves, then we start spinning in our heads.
Yeah.
And then we don't know what to believe anymore. And so for me as a coach is to help you verbalize what that chatter and this information is, because it seems so normal to you, because that's how you always thought or felt about things.
Right.
And you're not aware that there's a different way to think or feel about certain things. So once you verbalize and you hear it and it's reflected back to you, you're like, wait a minute.
Like, I'm thinking that? I said
I just said that? That sounds completely bonkers.
Yeah, and we'd probably never say those things to a friend. Like, you would never talk that way to a friend, but in your own head, you're just living in that jumbled world of all those messages. And yeah, I think as a designer, you go by instinct a lot. I trust my gut and my instinct, but if you are always bombarded by, your boss and deadlines and, criticism or fears or all that stuff, then you're not able to, I guess you just kind of start doubting yourself, and, you're trying to please everybody and listening to all this commotion, and it makes you maybe a little more insecure, or you're not quite sure if your work is good or whatever it is. It has that negative kind of effect. So
right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And as designers, it's interesting, because as designers, we're paid for, and we have it in our skill set to turn intuition on when there's a deadline.
Yes,
we are able to do that. The thing is that I believe is underappreciated in the business or in corporations
Yeah.
is as this ability to do that, because it's not tangible. You can't put a number behind it. And so I mean, tell me, have you ever designed anything being all up in your head?
Yeah, no, it's, well, actually, sometimes I find myself when I do have that deadline and I'm so, it's like everything's the last minute, but the more pressure there is, you make it work and you come through. But there's been many times, like a couple days before a deadline, where I'm laying in bed and it's all in my head. Like, how do I merchandise all these things together, or how do I finalize the line or the styles? And things just will start clicking, because I think that's how a designer brain works, is it just comes together, and it's just listening to your intuition. And very often that happens when you have that deadline and you're forced to do it. You're just, and it comes together. But it's can be messy.
Absolutely.
Cluttered. It can be cluttered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you get somehow into a flow. Like when all it clicks together, then it's flow, and you're getting it done super fast.
Yeah.
And so you have it's coming through your intuition, and then it's being presented. So it's kind of a bit of a vulnerable place as well, especially as a young designer, where you pour everything in, and then you get like feedback. So it's vulnerable, and then people are building walls to protect themselves from that influx of criticism, or what they perceive as maybe aggressive, or where they have to defend their ideas, or they have to defend all of this. And so this is what we often see, is when they say, oh, designers are unreasonable, or they're capricious, or because they can't quite understand that aspect.
How we work. Yeah, well, you had also talked about, so that leads kind of to the next thing, where designers do, or not just designer, everyone in general, just you have these limiting beliefs. And that's something that you would be working on through this program, is, what are someone's limiting beliefs, and how do you break through that? So what is your, what would your coaching kind of do with that? All those beliefs that people are kind of struggling with.
Well, what it does is, you become aware of them. You are able to look at them with a critical eye, and you can decide, does this serve me, or does this hinder me? And so you were just talking about the program, and I am launching this program, and it's actually free, and it's not just for designers, it's everyone. It will serve everyone, because as you said, it's anything. Anyone. Exactly. And it's called Thriving Through Transitions. And because we are going through this big transitionary process right now. And so big part of that is looking at limiting beliefs, looking at the thought loops, looking at where we are in life right now, and just applying different concepts, almost like more of an understanding of how things are working together, and in a way serving us on a higher level, while we are like in the trenches. And we are so affected by it emotionally, and we might be angry or frustrated or anxious about what we're going through, and so helping to put another context, there's and cues on what limiting beliefs are, with some experiences or explanations in my own life as well, that just help you cue in into the work. Yes.
Yeah. Without going into too much detail, I don't want you to spill all your methods and your plan for your coaching, but how do you how do you draw out those beliefs or those thoughts? Because I bet so many people don't even realize what their limiting beliefs are. They've just been living that way for their whole life. Is there a process that you'll go through that? Is it writing exercises, or is it sounds almost like therapy. It's like therapy for the creative, but yeah, so it's like pulling you as the coach are going to be kind of getting that person to feel comfortable and pulling out those beliefs. Is it through just questions and writing, or how does that come out?
So in the program that I'm doing, the Thriving Through the Transitions, it's a lot of it is self-guided, and yes, it is reflective and it's writing exercises, but guided in the sense that there's prompts and there's accompanying videos that explain the concepts a little more, and that might spark some reflection, reflective work. In a coaching, a one-on-one coaching scenario, it is a little different, because it's first of all setting a conversation. It's like impactful conversation. First of all, getting really clear of what do you want, what do you really want in life, and finding the why, and what are your values, what makes you tick.
Yeah.
And we don't spend time on even understanding that. So that's huge awareness right there. And then as a coach, I'm going side by side with you, not more, maybe more like a Sherpa or a guide, like pointing things out on the way. I won't carry your stuff for you. You are doing that, but I will show you where you can unload some of the rocks that you have unknowingly in this backpack of yours that are weighing you down, that are slowing down your progress, that are slowing down your success, that make you unfulfilled, that make you unhappy, that keep you thinking those things. And we're engaging in a conversation, and the amazing thing is that it's really holding space to process in a non-judgmental environment.
That's great. Yeah, I think oftentimes we're so running at such a fast pace that time goes by, years go by, and you don't even allow yourself to stop and reflect and think, okay, what is my why? Or what is my passion? Or, because you just, like, you get in your routine, you're in a career working mode, maybe you're starting to have a family, you're just, day after day, just, going to work, picking up the kids,
you're doing it.
Probably you're just doing it. And all of a sudden 10 years go by or more. And then you kind of, when you have that moment to stop, and I think it's such a good time now for people to really stop and think about their why and evaluate and just allow yourself the time to do that. And what a better time when you're forced to be at home and all that. So how, since I'm in the design, we're both apparel design folks, and this applies to anybody, but how does this translate into like design profession and design leadership roles, and how would your coaching apply to like that, those creatives?
Yes. Yeah. So it's amazing what you just said, because that totally leads into it, that you are just running, you go to university or college, and then you come out with a degree, you get your first job, and then you go.
Just go.
You just go, and you never reflect. And then you are caught in the cycle of what you should do, or what you think the next step is. And the way our system is organized right now, the next step is a promotion. And here is where the crux is, because all of what has served you, all the mindset that has served you to get to be considered or being promoted as a single contributor, there's a different mindset to make you successful. because you're working, you're in kind of in the trenches, you're working on it, you pour your heart and soul into your designs. That is what's making you successful. And then the next step is that you are leading a team, and all of a sudden, whoa, there is a total shift from being a single contributor than being a team lead, because it's no longer you and your own contribution that counts. It is the team's contribution. And you're in meetings, you're rolled up in politics, maybe often, right? And you have to manage a team, you have to do yearly reviews, and all of this takes time away from what really filled you up, meaning doing design and being creative.
Right.
And so you are disconnected from your value and your purpose in a way, and that's really hard. And I mean, we've talked about that. You see how people deal with that, because we are not prepared for that. We're kind of left alone with that. We struggle to find our footing, and so there's two ways on how people deal with that. One might be that the design lead is hogging the biggest, most exciting projects and gives the rest out to the others in order to feel better about themselves, that they deserve that job, that they have to prove it again or something. And then they're spread so thin and act out because they don't have the headspace. They're totally overwhelmed. And so this is what's happening very often. Or others are just like, just acting on what they believe they have to do or what they think their role needs. And then they're losing themselves.
Yeah. And then you start getting that internal conflict where you might, then you're starting to get unhappy with your job, or you're just, stressed out about all these other things all the time. And that takes away from, just joy and enjoying your work and how you're spending your days. Yeah. I think it happens. I've seen that in every single company and personally too. It's, you're expected, or, maybe it's a personal expectation. Of course, you want to keep moving up the ranks in your profession. You get a promotion, you make more money, but then you're probably working more hours. There's a lot more responsibility, a lot more stress, and just exactly what you said. Then all of a sudden you're, maybe managing a team, and that's not really what you were trained for. And I feel like, I'm trained as a designer, and my experiences as a designer, I was never trained as a manager. So all of a sudden when you've proven yourself, but it's not, I don't think most companies say, okay, we want you to be a design manager, so we're going to train you first on how to be a manager. They just, they throw you in and you just sink or swim, really.
Absolutely.
And, it's great to have that opportunity, but we may not have the skill set yet. It's, you kind of learn as you go and hope for the best. And, so this sounds like this could really help with those situations too, where, obviously you'd want to be a good manager and you want your team to do well, and you still want to maintain that positivity and lift everybody else up that you're working with, because then you're going to sell more at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
The goal is really for your company to make those profits, right? And even though it's maybe not the best goal, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And if you're not performing and you're not selling products, then everything's just,
exactly.
more stress, more negative energy, people blaming each other, just total opposite of what we need.
Exactly. Like so looking at the values, looking at the mindset, help shifting the mindset so that we are in this intuitive, powerful, in ourselves again, and find new meaning as well. And what that does, it's going to spread, because if you are happy and fulfilled in what you're doing right now,
Yeah.
then it impacts your family and your kids, and it impacts your entire team, right?
Yeah.
If they're not in fear and stress because they have a stressed out manager who is just like very hard to be around, or you have to walk on eggshells,
Yeah.
if they can be just relaxed and feel empowered and feel heard and seen and not pressed down, then their work will just level up. And when the team is working really well, then it just,
Everybody.
yeah, and the product is better, and you can feel it as a customer.
It's a domino effect for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And you said something interesting too when we were talking before this, is that it's so common for an athlete to have a coach, or, you know, maybe some other professional to have like a career coach or something, but not normally a designer or creative. Again, maybe it's going back to, they could hire a life coach for just their overall, you know, personal development and that kind of thing. But this is very focused on, it can be very focused on a designer and a creative. So that's different. Yeah. So I love that it's focused in on that. And it's because as we've said, I think designers are much more maybe sensitive and intuitive and those things that you might not get with a traditional kind of life coach. This is really dealing with all of those things that creatives have going on. So I love that idea. And as a creative, it feels right. It feels like something that is really, really needed and could make a huge impact. And this could be something you could do for companies, right? Like, I know you're planning, you can do one-on-one and you're going to do your little small group kind of thing, but this seems like something you could actually go into a corporate environment and train a team.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, is that something?
Absolutely. Just right now, COVID is a little harder to achieve. But actually, companies do have budget for education or personal development. They have a budget, and that's where like executive leadership coaches are coming from, or business coaches.
Right.
And I mean, it's a little bit sad that when there is like corrective action, then people get a coach to correct behavior. So it's and so it has a bit of a bad rep. But what I want to say is, if you develop your own, if you are invested in your own personal development, it has big impact on the company, and the companies are paying for that. There is a budget for that, and I can help give tools. People, it's not in the budget right now, but they're working for a company. I will be doing one-on-one coaching, like just like this, via Zoom. And so that is a possibility. Yes. Yeah. And yes, I want to go into corporations, and even teach real tools and things you can apply right now in order to ground yourself. If you feel all up in your head, if you're feeling all frazzled and splattered and distracted, how you can get into your body right away. And
it's amazing that, you feel that way in a normal work environment, but I think a lot of people are feeling that way now during COVID, because everything is so unsure. Like our future is so unsure, and maybe a lot of jobs are unsure. So there's all these different scenarios that it's such a good time to kind of sit down and work through some of those things. So you have you're offering a free online, coaching to start. Can you kind of tell us how, like, what are you offering for now? And then you said there's like 10 disciplines, and so how are you breaking that down? And I know starting Friday, July 3rd, I think you said, was you put it on LinkedIn, and you can find Daniela some great videos of her introducing herself and what she's what her mission is on LinkedIn. You can check that out too. But just for viewers, kind of break down what are you starting with, July 3rd, and what's the I guess your plan for future sessions and opportunities.
Yes. So Thriving in Transitions is teaching and giving cues for self-reflection on the first 3 principles of mastery, of a mastery mindset. Mastery mindset is where you're very flexible and adaptive to whatever is thrown at you, so that you are strong in your centered in yourself, so that things won't shake you, throw you out of balance, versus a performance mindset, which is very competitive. This is what we live in.
Right.
So there's 10 disciplines, but I wanted to really give a short introduction to the 3 foundation principles that you can apply right away. It is very rapid. It's kind of intense, but I wanted to do it that way. For people who that resonates with and who jump onto this course, I would love to just get the feedback from them, how they feel about it, what is it doing for them, what effects can they feel right away. Because I have this idea of rolling out a 10-month program where each month we're going and working through one of those principles, so that it builds upon each other, but it goes much deeper. So there's a possibility to enroll in that. Then there's, of course, the possibility to do one-on-one coaching with me. And that has the most profound results and the fastest results, for sure.
Yeah. So you're starting July 3rd, and you're doing every Friday, or is that once a month, or it's 3 Fridays in a row?
Yes. So it's going to be 4 Fridays. Friday, thank you. Yeah, I'm going away with all of what the plans are and what I'm going to do and what people can expect and all of that. So let's reel it back in. So starting on Friday, July 3rd is going to be the initial call. Then every Friday, so that call kicks off the program. You'll have access to an online learning platform with a PDF booklet download with all the cues and questions, and and additional teaching videos that you can go through.
Okay.
That will help you understand those concepts a little bit deeper. And then there is per week, there's 2 to 3 prompts to wrap your head around. That is a lot. And so I don't expect for everybody to do all of that, because it is a lot. But if people want to dive in,
they can.
More power to them. Yeah. And then every Friday, I'll do it at 9 a.m. Pacific. There is coaching conversations or coffee with a coach.
Love it.
In which we can, as a group, reflect back on the work we've done that week. So it will just deepen the understanding, and just hearing other people talk about their aha moments will break things open for you as well. When you watch that, so, oh my gosh, I did not think about that. Whoa, his limiting belief sounds like what I'm thinking.
I can relate to that. Or
yeah. So I will have these calls on Friday on an ongoing basis. I'm launching Thriving Through Transitions in July, and it will be an ongoing program that people can go on every month.
Okay. And are you limiting this first 4 sessions? Is it a limited amount of people, so it kind of stays in a more intimate group, or is it anyone? And how are you
Yeah.
You're gonna have like 100 people, or
Oh my gosh, that would be kind of crazy. So I think if we're 15 to 20 people would be great. And I've got already 12 people who
okay.
said, I want to thrive.
I'm
I
in.
want to thrive. I'm in.
Yeah.
So very exciting, very exciting. So yeah.
You've done that through LinkedIn, just kind of putting it out there, and
Yes, LinkedIn, a little bit of Instagram, but mostly LinkedIn.
yeah. So if someone wants to sign up, where should they go?
Yes. So I will send you a link to a page. If can you post that on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I will
Yep.
send that to you so people can go on, see what's included in there, what they're getting from it, and then sign up there. Then I'll send out an email with a Zoom link for the Coffee with a Coach on Friday, July 3rd.
Awesome.
And yeah,
I'll sign up.
thank you.
You know what I think would be really interesting is if we chat again like this a month from now or 2 months from now, and kind of give an update on how people are doing and going.
Oh my
really
gosh.
fun. We'll do a follow-up call and check in. And
Yes.
So, and LinkedIn, people can just look you up on LinkedIn as well and find you that way. And there's something else that you do that I totally forgot to introduce in the beginning, and maybe we'll just touch on it really briefly because it's another such impressive thing that you've done is the Engine 9 app. So Daniela here has also created an app for apparel people that's, well, you can kind of share a little bit, but you've done a lot of amazing things in your career. And we as a business, as Creative Capital, have started implementing the Engine 9 app. Is it an app? I guess, or soft?
It is. Yeah, it's a platform. It's a platform.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, you have your designer, and then you have your developer or a tech person, and they usually take care of all of that tech stuff. It's just not one of my favorite things to do. But you set it up where you have this platform that's super easy to go in and do drop-down menus, and you're essentially creating a tech pack that can be shared with the factory. So that's another thing that you've done, and that's still available, right? You offer that as a program that people can purchase and use and implement into their business. So you've got that going on too.
Yeah, I know. Yes. So I've always had something for helping people. That's been my.
That's why we love you so much.
Bit of a red thread through my life. So what happened especially when I was a partner in the sourcing agency, and we worked with developers and tech designers and material managers on multiple timelines, multiple seasons, multiple clients, like so much information to manage. And because we were a small startup, we had no software or tech tools other than Excel. And having worked for that many corporate companies and having access or having had exposure to those systems, they've always been very, very cumbersome. And I was thinking, wow, tech makes a real difference in how we work, yet the apparel industry has hardly been touched by that. And so I had this idea, what if there was a system that really made the work easy for developers and tech people and sourcing and how that captures everything. And so what Engine 9 is, yes, it's a platform. It's a bit like a Dropbox for all of your product data. You can capture and throw that in there, all in there. It's very visual. It's very intuitive. You don't have this huge learning curve. And it's very agile, adaptive again, and also affordable. And the one thing that it also has, the material is database driven, which means it all syncs up. Like all of your BOMs and all of your styles are connected to the material database. So once you update something in the materials, it updates like everywhere. So it's just a huge time save and just gives
Yeah.
people the ability to have a bit more time to
Yeah.
reflect.
You spent years working on it, so
Yes.
congratulations on getting that up and running, because it's impressive, and we're using it, and definitely simplifies our lives in development. And so, Daniela, you have an amazing career. You have tons of experience. You have such a big heart, and you know, as you said, you love giving, and I think that's again part of being a creative, is that we care so much and want the best. And so I'm so excited to with what you're doing, and to be able to share it and offer it to people. And so thank you for, you know, the time and sharing with us. And is there any last words you want to say about joining you in the program? Or I just think people have an amazing outcome, and if you have the time to do it, this is, I mean, what better time to really dive deep into yourself and give yourself this, you know, treat yourself and give yourself time to do a little self-discovery. And you're an amazing person to be doing that with, and I'm sure I know you're going to be very, very good at it and successful. And I'm anxious to check in with you in a month or two and see how things are going.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think you captured it so nicely. Just do this for yourself. It's out there. It's a gift. Do it for yourself if you feel inclined. If you want to thrive, if you want to be able to see what's happening right now from a different angle, from a different perspective, from a perspective where you can feel and understand, this is serving me. It sucks right now, but nothing good has ever come from comfort zones.
Right. Love it. So with that said, we'll end on that note. So thank you, all the viewers who are seeing this. Please reach out, look up Daniela, sign up. Thank you for stopping by Inside Fashion Design in the studio today. And this is actually my first interview for IFD, and super thrilled. It's with Daniela, and we're planning more. So please, you know, stop by, check us out, go to Daniela, sign up, and hang in there. We're all going to get through COVID and be better for it, and wish you all lots of love and success and peace and happiness.
Yes, you're so amazing. You're so amazing. Thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you.